Hey YouTube, it's jurracmaster, and sorry for the really long break here. I just kind of didn't have anyone to play with or anything to do in here. It was towards the end of the school year, and I was a little busy with some other stuff, so I didn't have enough time to dedicate for finding things to put on this channel, because without anyone to play with, it kind of gets difficult keeping up content with just deck profiles. I mean, I could sit around all day and make them, but there's a certain point where they're not really useful. So I apologize for that, but it's the summer for me now. I just graduated high school, and I'm looking forward to playing Kaijudo this summer. I can actually travel to some tournaments that are farther away now, so make sure to check out my channel for some coverage of some tournaments, and I will be at the KMC in Massachusetts, so I'll have some stuff there as well. And I know Clash is just coming out. It might even be out by the time you see this. It's Wednesday night for me, so it comes out in like 2 days. So you guys will see it like the day before or the day of Clash. I just wanted to kind of put on record my two main decks for Dragon Strike and Furnace and what I've come up with and tweaked and stuff. Wanted it to be on record so that we can see how my decks change with Clash, and we'll see how that goes. This first one is going to be Water, Darkness, Light, Andromeda control. Pretty much the most played deck in the format, and I'm going to post a deck list in the description. So if you guys missed something or just want to see the list, go ahead and check down there. And at the end of this video, I'm going to give a few of my thoughts on the deck itself. So here's the deck. It's already set. I've got 3 Andromeda, 3 Lyra, 2 Keeper of Dawn, 2 Canyon Skimmer, 2 Jade Monitor, 3 Lux, and 3 Stormspark Blasts. That does it for the light section. The deck's total is 49 cards. I'll talk about a little bit about that after. I've got 1 Dracothane, 1 Dreadclaw, 3 Razorkinder Puppet, 3 Scaradorable of Gloom Hollow, 2 Skull Shatter, 3 Terror Pit, 3 Death Smoke, 3 Bone Blades, and 2 Dark Return. So that does it for the darkness section, and now for the little water section here. Got 1 Waterspout Gargoyle, 3 Crystal Memory, 3 Spy Mission, and 3 Logo Scan. So that wraps up the deck. I'm going to go into talking a little bit about some of my choices. I think the draw engine is pretty self-explanatory. I like 3 Spy Mission. I know a lot of people play 1 or 2 just for an extra draw card, but with the small water section in this deck, and I decided against Issel just because it's a little slow. There are just other choices that I wanted to put in here instead of Issel, so I needed some more water cards. I needed something just to make the consistency of having water mana and a water card to play. I needed that to be consistent. Obviously 3 Crystal Memory is pretty much always, and then Waterspout Gargoyle is a tech that I've seen other people use as well. It can bounce itself and another creature. It's just infinite uses. It dodges in Furnace. It's good to have. That's all I can really say. It beats, other than when it's in the shields, it beats Veil Vortex in my opinion, because you can just keep replaying it, and if you absolutely need to, you can bounce 2 creatures. And then 2 Dark Return. I think CVH talked about this. Was either CVH or Earth Power. I think they might have done the video together, maybe that's why I'm thinking of it. But the two of them were talking about how they put 1 Dark Return in. I've seen other people's KMC winning decks have Dark Return at 1, and a lot of them came out of it saying they wanted it at 2. My reason for this, having 2, is the same reason I have 3 Andromeda, and it's the same reason I have 3 of a lot of cards, and 2 of other cards, just because I need to be able to have the option to put 1 in mana and still have 1 left, and it's just a good little 2-drop to have late game when you might have gotten Skull Shattered earlier. It also is really good to have with Dreadclaw, who I will talk about now, I guess. Dreadclaw gets back all my dragons, so it helps recover from Skull Shatter, but obviously if this was shattered, one of these helps, because this just returns all my dragons. It's good to surprise people in the later end of the game. If I have to put Dreadclaw in mana, it doesn't really bug me. I've still got 2 of these, and I typically don't need too many dragons back. It's just, Dreadclaw is a nice one to have in there. I quickly want to touch on the Bone Blades. I put these in here really just as a counter to Rush. Personally, I would have been running 2 just for quick Firebird killers, like if someone has Lux out, or if someone has a Scaradorable of Gloom Hollow. Typically, that's not something I'm going to kill, but it can be nice to get a swing or 2 in with my little creatures earlier on in the game, just to put them at a disadvantage on shields early on. It means that when they get 2 shields back with Andromeda, it's not going to put them at 7, it might put them at 6, and that's 3 double breaks away instead of having to use 4 creatures, you know. It's just a little convenience. They kill something. The rest of the darkness up to Skull Shatter is pretty self-explanatory. Some people run 1 Skull Shatter. I find that that's not enough, partly for the charging mana reason. Also, this is a big target for when your opponent goes with their Razorkinder Puppets. If they see a Skull Shatter and they think it might be like a problem later down the line, it could be a big target in your hand. So it's good to have 2 as a backup. That's also another reason for running Keeper of Dawn. If they see Keeper of Dawn and Skull Shatter, they're probably not going to go for the Skull Shatter. They'll find something else to take out of your hand. So, I mean, the 3 Scaradorable, 3 Razorkinder Puppet, self-explanatory. Some people don't use Dracothane, some people use 2. I personally prefer 1. It's nice to have, but in decks like this, where you're not using all too many little creatures, it's not necessary most of the time. It's good to have to run over Andromeda. It's good to have to get back a few blockers late game, or protect itself with 2 Lux that it gets back. I think reusing Lux is probably the biggest thing that this gets used for, but a lot of times it ends up as early game mana, and it's just good to have at least 1, but a lot of times my little creatures like blockers end up as mana, so it really is just reusing Lux that I even put this in here for. I've seen a lot of people using 2 Stormspark Blast. I don't feel like that's enough. I like 3. It lets me put them in mana. They're good to, even casting out a hand in the end of the game is really good. So I don't know why people use 2. I guess cutting down on the deck size is nice, but we're already using like 50 card decks, whatever. I mean, you get down to 46 and you're on the low end of the spectrum. Cutting out 1 Stormspark Blast just doesn't seem to balance the deck enough to be worth it, in my opinion. Wanted to talk about that one real quick. Gonna talk about my blocker lineup next. Well, the light blockers. Obviously, Scaradorables are just staples for anti-rush and stuff. So, Jade Monitor is the obvious 3-drop that gets around, like, rush kill spells and whatnot. It'll still get killed by all of the mirror match stuff, but it just gets around certain things from rush. Really, blockers are only in here to face rush. And then Canyon Skimmer is another one to just be able to tap creatures. It's a good ability to have. If you can tap an opponent's creature and attack it with anything that you have to kill it, it could be really useful. It's just another option. Why, if you're going to have to run blockers, why not have one that at least gets to do something other than block? Keeper of Dawn I've been over a little bit, but Keeper of Dawn at 2 I feel is enough. I typically charge 1 in mana. If I'm ever going to use one, it's on like a Death Smoke or a Terror Pit, or even if I really need to, it can be on Dark Return. But a lot of times it's just for a kill spell, or if I have 8 mana, I could get a logo scan and draw some cards. Really useful to have. 5 mana, or level 5, 4000 power. Pretty good. It runs over Razorkinder Puppets in the mirror. Comes out a turn earlier as well, so you've already got something to beat it. And that's if you cast it turn 5. I typically wouldn't recommend it, but if you need to, go ahead. But it's just easier to cast than Razorkinder Puppet, and it beats Razorkinder Puppet, which is probably its biggest use. It also gets around most blockers that people use. This card is actually another reason that I put Jade Monitors in here, just because it prevents this from safely attacking. And that pretty much comes to the end of it. I just wanted to talk about why I think 2 Andromeda is not enough. Andromeda as a card is really, really good, and a lot of people are saying that 2 is fine, because you're not gonna need 3, you're gonna deck yourself out or something. I find drawing these first turn if you have 2 is really, really bad, because sometimes you just get forced to put them in mana, and then you've got 1 left in the deck to play around with, and you pretty much have to Crystal Memory it at that point. And I feel like that's a little too slow. It relies on wasting turns and potential discard or draw missed, and it seems like it's kind of relying on too many things to go your way. This way, if I draw it first turn, I can feel great about putting it in mana, knowing that there's still 2 left, and 2 Andromeda is a great number, but I feel like just having the ability to draw it without searching it more consistently, and the ability to safely put it into mana without thinking that you might lose all of your Andromedas for the game, that ability it really is why I play 3. So, the last thing I wanted to mention is I'd probably bump this to 50 cards and put in a Sarkhan. Card's really good, especially in the mirror match, from what I've seen and heard. Seeing as I haven't been able to playtest these too much, I've just been able to go off of information I've gathered from looking at other decks and things like that. But I would probably bump this up if I had one, but since I don't have any tournaments to go to, I'm lacking on promos right now. And that's another reason I'm looking forward to this summer, so please stick around, guys. Sorry about the big gap in content on my channel. It was just unfortunate. I work on Saturdays, and that's the 2 locals I could go to only run on Saturdays, from what I know, during the time I work, so I don't really have any local tournaments to go to. So since it's summer, I have a lot more time to travel to other tournaments and have some more fun with this game. So thanks for watching, guys, and have a nice day.